Hello there, I'm James Gilmer, your User Services Librarian, here to introduce the library's webinar on resources for computer science students.
So for today's session, we're going to cover a couple of things. These are kind of the learning objectives for this session, and they kind of follow pretty straightforward guidelines. The first one is knowing what library resources are available, both print and online, that specialize in computer science. And then navigating and searching the library's computer science databases and specific types of sources. I'm going to be walking you through a couple of databases that specialize in computer science that we have and show you how to use them so that you understand where you can find sources from different places. And then the last learning objective is knowing where to get additional assistance in conducting research in the field of computer science. So we want to make sure that you know that you can always get extra help if you are feeling lost with any of these things. So these are the three large learning objectives for today. So by the end of this session, you should be familiar with, or at the very least familiar and comfortable with, all three of these things. So to make sure we are all on the same page, I would like to first kind of define computer science so everyone has a full understanding of what it actually entails. And computer science is the study of computers and computing, which includes hardware and software foundations and the ways that they process information. And there's several subtopics and disciplines within computer science, and I have some of them listed here, but there are obviously many more than that. But some of the big ones include cyber warfare, cyber defense, and cyber security. I know that's a growing field at the moment. There's also information management and information technology, more on the technical side of things. There's also software engineering and coding theory. So depending on your discipline, whether you're studying one of these on the screen or if you're focusing on one that's not, your research needs may vary depending on what you end up needing for whatever research you're conducting. So you do want to keep that in mind when you are using any of these resources. So what library resources are available to you for conducting research in computer science? So there's several available to you from Pfeiffer Library's website. The first one being Dragon Quest, which you are hopefully familiar with already, or if anything, you've at least heard of it. Dragon Quest is our online catalog that combines print and electronic sources from different libraries throughout the state and our collection as well. There's also our A to Z database list, which is going to be our entire list of databases, and you can filter them out to show you the computer science specific databases by using the filters and drop downs on the database list page. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment here. So there's that, and then there's also the computer science subject research guides. And these are created by professional library staff for Tiffin University students, and they provide tips on conducting research on computer science topics. And they also list relevant publications and databases, as well as other relevant resources that you may not find in a database. So those are kind of the three main resources that you can use. I'm going to break them down and demonstrate each one and where you can find them. And I'm going to start with Dragon Quest first, because that's going to be the most introductory kind of resource that a lot of you will probably use. So if you don't know already, this will be a review for some of you if you've used it already, but Dragon Quest is our electronic catalog, and it's on our homepage if you've ever visited our homepage, but it combines print and online material from our campus, OhioLink libraries throughout the state, and individual resource licenses purchased by the library. So it's, like I said, it's located on our homepage, as well as on the A to Z list of databases that I will show you where that is in a little bit here. But what Dragon Quest does is it searches pretty much all of our databases together by combining all of the materials into one searchable platform. So it's kind of our version of Google, if you want to call it that, but it's a little more less. There's more to it than just doing a Google search, I guess, in some ways. But to do a Dragon Quest search, there's a couple different ways you can do it. There's just a traditional Dragon Quest search where you just type in your keywords and hit search. But then there's also some search tabs that you can use. And I'll briefly show you that here when I switch over to the library homepage, which is library.tiffin.edu, and you'll see Dragon Quest is in the center. So you can start by just typing in your keywords and hitting search and looking at your results that way. You can change these buttons to keyword, title, or author to categorize your search terms. And you can also use these home page search tabs here. The articles tab is going to let you search for journal articles only. This one will let you search for books, and journal search for journal titles. Now, when you use the Dragon Quest bar, it's going to search all of these at once. So this is kind of a good place to start. But then if you want to get more specific or need to find something more specific, you can use one of these as well. So kind of like I just showed you, if you want to do a basic search on any topic in computer science, you can just type in your search terms on the homepage into that search bar. And then you want to use the filters after you hit search to narrow down your results. And I highlighted some of the most commonly used filters, and I'm going to show you where they are when I do a search here. But some of these are going to be the most commonly used filters that'll kind of give you the best results. And then below here, I also included a list of potential search terms. So like I said, this is very generic. There's so many other options depending on your topic and whatever you're researching. But I included just some potential ones that can get you started. So we've got computer science and computing, cybersecurity and defense, information security, coding language, and software engineering. Like I said, there's plenty others. There's probably hundreds of thousands of more words you could use. Just depends on what you're looking for. So I'm going to do a basic search to demonstrate how it works. I'm going to use I'll use software engineering, and I'm going to keep this at keyword and hit search. And so this is going to be what your search results page looks like. So your search results are going to be in the center. It's going to tell you what type of result it is, whether it's a book, a journal, ebook, any type of source really you can think of. It's going to give you some information in the middle, and then it's going to give you availability if it's some kind of print item. Now, if it's an electronic item, there will usually be links located underneath that will allow you to access the source. So, for example, these first couple here, they're electronic sources, so there's not going to be a call number where you'll be able to find the book in a physical library. It's going to be available only online, so you have to click on one of these links to take you to that source. Now, if you go back to the top, we've got about 1 million results here. That's quite a bit, but there's ways to make that number smaller. So if you go to the left side, there is a Refine Results toolbar, and that's going to give you options to narrow down your results. Now, some of the most important filters are going to be full text. This is going to narrow down your results by eliminating anything that's not in full text format, so it's good for finding things really quickly. There's scholarly journals, which is going to only show you peer-reviewed items, which are very important when you're doing scholarly research, or if your professor or instructor requires you to find scholarly articles for an assignment. You can change the publication date by changing these years here, or using the slide bar. You can also narrow things down by source type. You can check off as many as you need, depending on the type of source you were looking for. I'm going to check off journals and books. And that'll also make your results smaller, so that cut it in half. You can also narrow things down by subject. This is also very helpful in finding alternate words to search. So if you are kind of having trouble finding sources, you can kind of look at these subject words and maybe apply one of them to your search, and it'll give you some new results. There's also a publisher filter, a publication filter. If you know another language, this can be useful because you can find things in other languages. There's a geography filter and a database filter. Now remember, Dragon Quest combines everything together, so you can also narrow things down by the database that it came from. So that's what that allows you to do. So when you're searching Dragon Quest, you also have the option to do an advanced search, which allows you to add some extra words to your search. So I'm going to go back here in just a second, but to do an advanced search, you click on the advanced search icon on the Dragon Quest search bar, and then type in your topic search terms using the boxes and drop-down menus like you would normally. And then you can use these things called Boolean terms, which are words that include or exclude specific search terms, and they help you locate items more easily. So I'm going to demonstrate how those work. So we've got software engineering in this first search box. I'm actually going to backtrack here. Let me go back to the Dragon Quest homepage. Close out of here. So I'm going to redo this. I'm going to go to advanced search here, and we're going to do a search for the same thing, but we're going to add a couple extra words to make it more specific. So we're going to do software engineering, and then I will put, let's say you were interested in software engineering in Europe. Put Europe in there. You can also add a third word if you like. You can also add more. I usually don't recommend more than 2 or 3 because then you won't get any results. Now, these Boolean operators that I mentioned earlier, these are located in this dropdown. These allow you to distinguish a relationship between the first term you put in here and the second. Now, the first one, which is and, that is going to search for results that have both words in it. So it's going to look for software engineering and Europe. So this is going to make your search a lot smaller because it's looking for both. You can see we got 17,000. If we change this to or, it's going to search for either one. So it's going to make your search a lot bigger in the sense that it's casting a wider net. So you can kind of see this first result here has nothing to do with software engineering. So you can see how much of a wider net that it casts because it looks for either one, but not necessarily both. In a lot of cases, it will pull up items that probably have both in it, but that's not always the case. If you change this to not, this is going to show you results that have the first word, but not the second word. So this is useful in finding things if you're like having trouble finding a source on a topic and you keep getting sources on a topic you don't want. You can take that topic, put it into this second search bar, change this to not, and then do a search, and then that will help eliminate everything that's kind of been coming up that you don't want. And so what this is this is the search results page for items on software engineering not related to Europe. So it looks like this first one is about software engineering in India. So that would technically count. That would fit the criteria here. So once you fiddle around with these and click search, you can then apply the same filters that you did that I just showed you earlier when I did the basic search, and just follow the instructions that I kind of gave you for that again. So I kind of mentioned this earlier, so if you need to retrieve peer-reviewed sources in computer science, you can use the scholarly journals checkbox or the academic journals source type checkbox. And if it's an electronic source, which I kind of outlined some of this down here, you can look for the links located underneath the source title. A lot of them are going to be labeled something like PDF full text or full download, HTML full text, online access, or full text finder. So pretty much any of those are going to be fair game. So then if you click on it, which I'll click on this first one here, it'll take you directly to the source normally. In terms of this one, it looks like you can view each individual chapter by clicking on the PDF link, or you can download the whole thing as a PDF. Now, if it's a print source, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one up, see if I can get one here. If it's a print book, you would follow the same instructions that you would if you are looking for pretty much any book that's print in another library. So let me see here. It tends to show you ebooks a lot, which it can be good, but also if you want something in print, it can also be kind of a pain. So I'm going to see if I can find a print one here. I'm going to get rid of that. Should give us more results. Okay, so here is a regular print book on software engineering. So normally what would happen is there would be a green request button right here. And you can see that there is one copy available. It's at the University of Cincinnati. Now, the reason this green request button is not here is because the library and OhioLink in general has been going through a delivery service transition. So we've turned off print requests for now, but they should be back in about a week. So in the future, if you're viewing this a semester or two down the line, this button will be back. It'll be a green little request button. And then from there, what you're supposed to do is type in your name and then type in your barcode. And if you don't know your barcode, it's located on the back of your student ID, or you can find it under self-service when you log in there. If you still can't find it, you can always email us and we can get it for you. But that's how you would request a print book. Apologies for not being able to show that, but we'll be able to get those print requests back up and running very shortly. So just wanted to mention that in the event that you're watching this later when the print lending is turned back on. So that's how to access most of the sources in Dragon Quest. It's kind of an overview of it. Hopefully you're familiar with it already, but I did want to show you how to do a search for computer science related sources, just in case you weren't familiar. So if you're looking through Dragon Quest and you are using any of these sources, I included a quick little thing on how to cite sources. You can use any type of citation management software, or you can use the citations that are located in the Dragon Quest database itself. And what you're going to do is, if you are going to use any of those, all you have to do is click on the source that you're using, go to the right side toolbar here, click on Cite, and then you're going to want to look for APA. I'm assuming most people tend to use APA on campus. I know a few courses use MLA, but for computer science, I'm assuming that it is APA. And then you can just copy and paste this into your document. You do want to double check it just to make sure that the formatting is correct, but it's a lot easier to do that than to just make them from scratch. So that is available to you as well. So the next thing I'm going to cover is the A to Z database list, which is a list of almost 200 databases available to you from our website. It's listed alphabetically, and you can browse by letter or browse by subject or database type, which might be your best bet in terms of getting computer science databases to show up. So the subject you're going to want to go to is computer science, and the database types that would maybe most fit computer science fields would be government information, journal articles, primary sources, and statistics. Now, to get to the A to Z list, what you're going to do is go to our homepage, like where Dragon Quest is, click on databases, and you're going to see our list here. Now, you're going to want to go to subjects, click on computer science, and you'll see all of our computer science databases. You can also go to the database type and select any of these as well. Like I said, statistics, primary sources, government information, those were probably going to be your best bets in terms of computer science databases. But I'm going to go back to the drop down here, go to computer science again. Now you're going to see some of these databases have the word EBSCO underneath it. And if that's the case, then it's going to have the same search functions as Dragon Quest, which is really easy. So you'll kind of see here, it looks very similar to Dragon Quest. You can do a basic search here. You can do an advanced search. It looks very similar. and you can use the same filters when you get to search results. So any database listed here with the word EBSCO underneath, it's going to have the same search functions as Dragon Quest. Now there's some that do not have that word underneath it, which means you're going to have to kind of learn how to use it. But I'm going to demonstrate how to do search with a couple of the ones that may help you the most. Before I kind of demonstrate some of those databases, I did include a list of the computer science databases, which are under the EBSCO category, which, like I said, those are the ones that are going to have the same search functions as Dragon Quest. So we've got Computers and Applied Sciences Complete, which has engineering disciplines, computer theory, and new technologies articles. There's Applied Science and Technology Full Text, which has professional and technical society journals, periodicals, directories, and conference proceedings. We have Computer Source Consumer Edition, which has full text journals and consumer computer tiles. There's Academic Search Complete and Academic Search Premier, which are kind of generic databases for a wide variety of academic disciplines. So you may find some of these items that will show up in Dragon Quest searches rather than searching these databases directly. But the good thing about searching the databases individually is that it allows you to focus your search a bit more. Dragon Quest can be a bit overwhelming in that there's so much that it may be hard to find some things. So that's why it's a good thing to also do searches on your own for these types of things and search them individually. So I have 3 databases that are not EBSCO that I want to demonstrate before we kind of recap everything. So there's arxiv.org. I apologize if I said that wrong, but this database has scholarly articles in physics, math, computer science, system science, and more. It's great for finding scholarly articles, and it's pretty easy to do a search. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the database up here using the list. And here it is right here. So what you're going to want to do is select computer science from the dropdown and hit search. And then you can conduct a basic or advanced search using the search bar. And usually the access links are after the source title in some kind of PDF form. So I'm going to go to the dropdown, computer science, hit search. And then this is going to allow you to do a search. I'm going to do software engineering again. And you can change the field here for categorizing your search term. You can do an advanced search by clicking here. And then here's your results. Now the PDF links are going to be right here. And then when you click on one of these, it'll take you straight to the PDF. And from here, you can download it as a PDF to your computer, or you can print it out. So I'm going to backtrack. I'll just show you an advanced search real quick. So I'm going to do software engineering again. You can add another term if you like. And then you can also check off subjects, dates, submission date, abstract, all that kind of stuff before you can conduct the search, which is kind of nice. I'll go ahead and change that and do the search. And so this will allow you to narrow down your results a lot. So there's only 48. And same thing applies. PDF link, and there it is. So arxiv is actually pretty straightforward in terms of doing searches. There's also a little help button right here, which you can also use to get extra help if you're kind of new to it or if you're struggling to use it. But that's pretty much how to use that one. Like I said, pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy. The next one is Emerald Insight, which contains journals, case studies, and ebooks on engineering, applied sciences, and technology. So to search this one, you can conduct a basic or an advanced search with the search bar on the homepage. You just want to use search terms related to your field or your topic, because there's not really a way to filter out subjects. So you want to make sure you're specific with your search terms. If you don't want to do a search, you can also browse their content by clicking on Browse Our Content in the top right corner. And they categorize their content by these categories. They have books and journals, case studies, expert briefings, and open access sources. So if you're doing that, you can browse that way. But if you're doing a search, then you just want to filter your results on the right side of the search results page once you complete your search and hit the search button. So I'm going to go ahead and open that one. World Insight should be under Eve, I believe. There it is. So if you want to browse content, you just click Browser Content, and you can select one of these. I'm going to go ahead and click Open Access. And so this is basically giving you an entire list of all of your open access content. So you can kind of narrow this down by typing into the search bar here. And then it'll let you kind of scroll down and look at all the results. And the PDF links for the sources on the right. And then it'll open in a new tab. So that one is also pretty straightforward there. That's just one way to do a search, kind of, because I went through browsing instead. If you do want to do a search, I'm going to go ahead and do an advanced search. So I'll keep that the same, and then you can add any of these. Oh, you know what? I think that actually goes there. So this is a basic search bar. This is the advanced search bar, so don't get those confused. So you can add an extra row. You can add a date range. And you can decide what type of content you want to see. A good rule of thumb is to select the content you only have access to, because then you'll be able to get it a lot faster. And then the same thing applies. You can change your filters on this little toolbar here, and you can also look and read some of the details related to whatever source you're kind of looking at by clicking on this drop down. And then same thing applies. You just click the PDF link and it'll open up for you. So that's how Emerald Insight works. Also pretty easy to use, not super fancy in terms of search functions. If you're familiar with Dragon Quest, you will probably be in good shape in terms of using most of these, in terms of just doing basic searches and finding sources. The last database I do want to demonstrate briefly here is the Science Citation Index Expanded, which is part of the Web of Science collection. And it's online access to multidisciplinary sources in the sciences. Computer science is included in that. So to search this database, you select a search option, either documents, authors, or cited references. Type in your keywords into the search bar or use the advanced search function. So just remember to keep your keywords specific, and then use the functions on the search results page to limit your results. So I will go ahead and open that one. Here it is right here. And so you can choose between documents and cited references or researchers. I think that's what they use now instead of the word author. So I'm going to just keep it to documents. You can do an advanced search by clicking here. If you want to do just a regular search, just hit search, and then use the filters on the left to narrow things down. You can also search within your search results. So like if you forgot to maybe add a word, you can always do a search that way. And then there's some filters like ones that are highly cited, ones that are open access, which are usually pretty good in accessing quickly, publication year, document type, Web of Science category, and author. There's a couple others here, but the ones you're probably going to use the most are the document type, publication year, and then the quick filters. Now, if any of these resources are available, you can just click on the full text link at the bottom, and it should take you to the source. In the event that it does not, like this one, for example, you might be able to submit an interlibrary loan request by clicking here. And actually, I process the interlibrary loans. So if you fill out this form, it'll arrive in our inbox, and we'll try to get the article to you within a couple of days. Basically, what this is we're asking other institutions if they have the article and if they're willing to lend it to us electronically. So that's why it may take a couple of days. But in the event that does happen, you can use this as an option to get the source that you're interested in. Let me see if I can pull one up that's not going to take me to that page. Here we go. Okay, I guess that one didn't work either. Here we go. There's a PDF link here. There it is. Okay. So, like I said, there might be a few that don't show up or something, but if you're ever really interested in an article and you can't find it, feel free to contact us. We're always happy to help in helping you locate things. So that is the Science Citation Index expanded. So to kind of recap everything real quick, to find computer science sources, you can use Dragon Quest, or you can use our A to Z database list. There's the EBSCO databases, which are like Dragon Quest, and then there's also the non-EBSCO databases, which I just kind of demonstrated briefly each one. There's ARXIV, Emerald Insight, and then the Web of Science database. So the last thing that can help you find resources on computer science is our research guide. We have one specifically for computer science and cybersecurity. So these are meant to assist you with conducting research on a particular area of study. And each guide contains search options, which are library databases in our A to Z list that are relevant to the subject. There's also a list of academic journals and books provided by the library that are about the subject. There's also links to different news articles, like talking about current events about the subject. Maybe if there was a big breakthrough in the field, that would get included there. And then a list of professional organizations in the field. So the guide for computer science is going to be located under Help, Research Guides. And then you're going to want to go to the Computer Science dropdown and click on the Computer Science Guide or Cybersecurity. I'm going to click on Computer Science. All of the research guides like these are pretty much formatted the same, so it won't be new if you try to use a different one for like a different subject or something. But you'll see that the search options are located here, link with links. There are publications available that you can click on. It'll take you straight there. In some cases, we may not be subscribed to a specific journal at some point in the future, so if something doesn't work, let us know and we'll see if we can find it. The News tab has, here's the RSS news feed for Google News. And then there's some current events related links that take you to different news sources. And then there's one for professional organizations and computer science. So these are also good for networking, professional development, and just getting extra resources. If we have any courses on computer science, we are working on putting guides together for each course, so you can see those underneath courses. There's one right now, but we are probably going to add more to that because there's obviously more than one computer science course. So I hope that this research guide will also help you kind of get started if you aren't sure where to start. We have plenty of research guides on a number of different things, but I did want to focus on the computer science and cybersecurity ones because those are the most relevant to this session and computer science majors at Tiffin. So wanted to make sure you were aware that those were there because they're really meant to just help you.
Hello again. James Gilmer, User Services Librarian, here at the end of the webinar just to give you some resources for additional help should you have questions as you work on your research and other assignments. You can always email the library directly at library@tiffin.edu, and Luann or I will typically get back to you that day during the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday workday, or on our next business day for questions that fall outside of those hours. You can also contact me directly if you prefer at gilmerjm@tiffin.edu. I monitor both of those inboxes and get to questions as quickly as I can. For more generalized help, check out our other webinars, research guides, and tutorials that are linked in the description below and on the library's homepage, library.tiffin.edu. Thanks again for watching and good luck with your research.